Most people spend a significant portion of their lives earning money. In our modern world, living without money is incredibly challenging and uncomfortable. Today, I will share with you interesting facts about this ancient and crucial invention of human civilization. 10 fascinating facts about money. History of money dates back to the Stone Age. Even then, people produced various goods that were needed by others. Thus, the concept of barter emerged, where goods were simply exchanged for other goods. For instance, if you had a great spear with a sharp stone tip, but you were hungry, you could find someone with a sack of fruits and exchange one for the other. However, a problem arose when you couldn't find someone willing to trade their fruits for your spear. Moreover, your spear, made from the tusks of a boar or antler of a deer, might not be needed by anyone in your tribe. Thus, there was a need for a more portable form of exchange, which led to the use of rare shells in many places. These shells were limited in quantity, durable, and convenient to transport. Other items such as metal spear tips, animal skins, special stones, pieces of metal, grains, salt, and more served as forms of money as well. Interestingly, even in the modern world, there are situations where specific commodities function as money. In prisons, cigarettes are a common currency, easily exchanged for other goods among inmates. In war-torn African countries, bullets often function as currency, particularly for the ubiquitous AK-47. After World War II in Germany, cigarettes and coffee also served as currency for a time. However, let's return to ancient times. Shells and skins were useful, but still not entirely convenient. Eventually, coins made from different precious metals, primarily silver and gold, emerged. The first coins appeared around the 7th century before the Common Era. They were quite simple, featuring stamped designs and symbols. Over time, coins spread worldwide and became widely used. They offered more convenience compared to the materials previously used as money. The value of a coin was initially based on the value of the metal it was made from. However, as civilization and technology developed, so did the economy. Coins became less practical for significant transactions due to their weight. Carrying a large number of coins for a substantial sum was cumbersome and inconvenient for counting. As a result, paper money was introduced, addressing some of these challenges. But paper money wasn't perfect either. It could be counterfeited, and for large transactions, carrying suitcases full of bills was impractical. This eventually led humanity to electronic money, a form without physical representation. In essence, money transformed from skins, gold, and paper into an idea, concept, and information. The first paper money emerged in ancient China around the 8th century. In Europe, they appeared much later. Initially, these papers were essentially banknotes, indicating that a certain amount of money was held in the bank in the form of coins or gold bars. This means a person could go to the bank, deposit, for instance, 20 gold coins, and receive 20 pieces of paper with the bank's seal, banker's signature, and other information. This allowed individuals to avoid carrying their gold coins and instead use the banknote to make transactions. The recipient could then go to the bank, present the note, and exchange it for their gold coin. The term banknote, which mean a bank's written promise. During the same period, bank checks also emerged. In the Middle Ages, wealthy individuals who had substantial amounts of money could keep their funds in a bank. They possessed a unique seal, enabling them to write a directive on paper or parchment, instructing the bank to release a specific sum of money to the bearer of the check. After writing the directive, they would affix their seal. The bank recognized this seal and would calmly dispense money to the person who presented the check for cashing. As time passed, only the government began issuing paper money and banknotes. This move allowed the state to maintain maximum control over the country's economy. People began counterfeiting coins around the same time as the inception of coins themselves. Counterfeiting involved not only crafting fake coins, but also damaging genuine ones. In ancient times, coins were predominantly made from precious metals like gold and silver. Each coin had a specific weight and thus value, determined by its weight. Due to primitive manufacturing techniques of that era, coins lacked the precision and uniformity seen today. Fraudsters exploited this by snipping or trimming small metal portions from coin edges, a subtle action that allowed the coin to be reused for transactions. The separated metal fragments were then collected, amalgamated, and either resold or used as raw material for other items. To counter this, the practice of adding edges, or reeding, to coins was introduced during their minting. This raised edge, called a rim, could immediately reveal if a coin had been tampered with, as the rim would inevitably be damaged. During ancient times, counterfeiting extended to the creation of fake money, both coins and banknotes. These counterfeit coins were often made from metal alloys resembling gold or silver, making them difficult to distinguish from genuine coins. Only those knowledgeable about metals could reliably differentiate them. Counterfeiters and states engaged in a technological competition, where governments developed unique coin minting methods that were hard to replicate without substantial resources and expertise. For instance, these methods included various notches, inscriptions, or edges on coins. The counterfeiters, however, also evolved their techniques. In many ancient societies, counterfeiting was a severe crime, subject to dire punishments such as death, amputation, boiling alive, or even pouring molten lead made from their counterfeit coins down the forgers' throats. Interestingly, there are historical records indicating that governments sometimes intentionally minted counterfeit coins to remunerate individuals. These counterfeit coins were used for payment to soldiers and officials, as they were confident these recipients wouldn't question the legitimacy of state-issued currency. Moreover, during times when coins were composed of precious metals like gold and silver, governments occasionally produced batches with less metal content than stipulated, effectively replacing the precious metals with cheaper materials like copper. These actions, often carried out clandestinely, aim to increase the state's monetary reserves without depleting the precious metals. Such manipulations could trigger public unrest, as the actual value of these coins was significantly lower than their nominal value, which was tied to the metal's inherent value. When banknotes became the accepted form of currency, it was inevitable that counterfeiters would emerge. Governments, in response, began developing increasingly intricate security measures. A modern banknote is far from a simple piece of paper. Interestingly, banknotes are usually made not from paper alone, but from a unique composite material containing paper, fabric, and plastic elements. Some countries have even transitioned to polymer-based banknotes. These banknotes might incorporate subtle metallic threads that are visible when held up to the light, displaying various changing geographical patterns that shift color when viewed from different angles. Additionally, there are ultraviolet visible features that are detectable only under UV light. All of these features are incredibly difficult to replicate. However, some counterfeiters manage to replicate even these complex features. Do you know who the largest producer of counterfeit US dollars is? It's North Korea. While officially denied by the North Korean government, American intelligence agencies are aware that North Korea engages in the state-backed production of fake dollars using advanced and costly equipment. The quality of these counterfeit notes is remarkably high, making them nearly indistinguishable from genuine currency. Only specialized electronic devices, such as those found in ATMs, can identify these fake banknotes. North Korea uses these counterfeit dollars to make purchases abroad. Interestingly, this isn't the only historical instance of one nation counterfeiting the currency of another. During Napoleon's campaign in Russia, France also manufactured counterfeit Russian currency to destabilize the economy. Counterfeit money was prevalent for a long time after conflicts, such as the period following the war. And during World War II, Nazi Germany produced counterfeit British pounds, airdropping them over British territory to create economic havoc. I believe that everyone is well aware of the fact that coins and banknotes can be quite dirty. After all, a significant number of people handle them with unwashed hands. Consequently, currency notes often harbor a considerable amount of microbes. Some of these microbes can even be dangerous, such as Staphylococcus. Therefore, it's a good practice to wash your hands after handling money each time, just to be safe. However, microbes are not the only things you can find on currency notes. Scientifically proven, a vast majority of US dollar bills of all denominations carry microscopic traces of cocaine. A similar situation exists with paper money in countries like the UK, Australia, and Spain. You might wonder why this is the case. One could speculate that these countries have a substantial number of people who frequently snort cocaine using rolled-up bills. However, the explanation is a bit more nuanced. Cocaine powder is incredibly fine, which allows its tiniest particles to find their way into the microscopic crevices present on almost any surface. Once there, they remain. Consequently, when these bills, which have been used to ingest cocaine, come into contact with other notes, they transfer these minute particles. This cycle continues, mainly within people's wallets and ATM machines. So if you've never used cocaine and therefore think you've never had contact with drugs, you might be mistaken. Microscopic amounts of cocaine might have still made their way onto your hands or belongings through currency exchange. Many words, one way or another, are connected with money and have fascinating origins. They trace back to the distant past when things other than money were used as currency, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. The term American dollars is often colloquially referred to as bucks. This term's origin can be traced back to the early days when the first Europeans began settling in North America. One lucrative trade was the hunting and harvesting of animal skins, especially deer. In those times, the English word for deer sounded like buck, and consequently, deerskin translated to buckskin. Native Americans frequently traded deer skins with Europeans for ammunition, tools, salt, weapons, and other goods. Over time, the term buckskin transformed into bucks, which was later used informally to refer to American currency. The word capital has its roots in the Latin word caput, meaning head. In ancient times, animals like cows were among the earliest forms of currency. The more cattle a person owned, the wealthier they were, which elevated their status. This concept gave rise to the idea of capital. Similarly, the term money also comes from Latin. The first mint in ancient Rome was situated near a temple dedicated to the goddess Juno Moneta. This temple housed the mint, and the word moneta eventually evolved into money. In the ancient world, salt was considered valuable and was used as a form of currency. Roman legionaries were sometimes paid in salt, which they could easily trade for necessities. Their salary in the form of salt was referred to as salarium in Latin. This term later gave rise to the English word salary, meaning payment for work. Humans, understandably, are the only creatures on Earth that use money. However, scientists in laboratory experiments have managed to teach monkeys to use and trade money for things they need. The experiment went as follows. Monkeys were given pebbles and taught to exchange these pebbles with humans for food. One pebble equaled 1 unit of food. In the experiment, 2 monkeys were involved, placed in separate cages, but able to see each other. The first monkey would give a pebble to a human and, in return, receive sweet grapes. The second monkey would also give a pebble to a human, but in return, it would receive a less tasty piece of food. The monkey that received a cucumber felt this was unfair and would throw it back in protest, as the first monkey received much tastier food for the same pebble. In another experiment, monkeys were offered various types of food, all priced the same. In this case, the monkeys preferred to buy their favorite food. Researchers then increased the price of their favorite food, and the monkeys began choosing cheaper alternatives to get more food for their money. However, the most intriguing aspect of this experiment was that some male monkeys chose not to spend their money on food. Instead, they used their money to pay for sexual services. Meanwhile, female monkeys used their earned money to buy food, which could be interpreted as a form of prostitution among animals. Such phenomena exist even in the animal kingdom. Furthermore, these experiments revealed that some male monkeys in the wild also bring food to others in exchange for purchasable displays of sexuality. These observations offer a fascinating insight into animal behavior. Money undoubtedly holds value since they are designed to be valuable. However, there are times when money becomes devalued due to inflation. This typically occurs when a government starts printing money uncontrollably. As a result, the amount of money in circulation increases while the supply of goods remains constant, leading to price increases. When inflation is a few percent per year, it is considered normal and even beneficial for the economy, as it encourages spending and investment rather than hoarding. However, in history, there have been instances of hyperinflation. This phenomenon involves rapid daily devaluation of money, causing prices of goods to multiply several times within just a few days. Hyperinflation occurred in Germany in the early 1920s. After World War I, the country's economy was in a dire state, and the government resorted to printing excessive amounts of money. The inflation rate reached approximately 25% per day. People rushed to spend their money immediately after receiving their wages to avoid the risk of it becoming worthless. The German government issued increasingly higher denomination banknotes. In 1920, one American dollar was worth 50 marks. But within 3 years, that same dollar was worth 4 trillion E200 billion marks. This situation led to people using German marks as fuel for stoves or wallpaper, as the paper for wallpaper was more expensive than the banknotes. People had to carry money in sacks, and bartering became more common. The hyperinflation was eventually curbed through a monetary reform that introduced a new version of the German mark, exchanged for the old mark at a rate of 1 trillion to 1. A similar situation occurred in Zimbabwe, where hyperinflation was even worse. In the late 1990s, the country's dictator, Robert Mugabe, expelled white farmers and landowners, causing international sanctions. The government responded by printing an excessive amount of money, the Zimbabwean dollar, for 8 years, resulting in 3 generations of dollars due to devaluation. In 2008, Zimbabwe abandoned its own currency in favor of using foreign currencies like the US dollar and British pound. The effects of these events still resonate in the country today. However, not all banknotes with immense denominations are essentially useless pieces of paper. On the contrary, from the late 19th century to the mid-20th century, the United States issued banknotes with a denomination of $10,000, which were indeed used for transactions. However, their production was eventually halted, and nearly all banknotes of this denomination were withdrawn from circulation by the American government. Nowadays, the remaining banknotes hold significantly greater value than their $10,000 face value due to their collector's worth. Yet, there's more to this story. There exists a banknote with a denomination of 100,000 American dollars. However, it is exclusively used for interbank transactions within the U.S. Treasury, and ordinary individuals cannot obtain it. Similarly, in the mid-20th century, in the United Kingdom, there were banknotes with a denomination of £1 million, primarily utilized for interbank settlements. These, too, have been withdrawn from circulation. But the most valuable banknote that is practically used by people is the $10,000 Singaporean dollar note, which is approximately equivalent to $7,500 in US dollars. This serves as an example of a truly valuable piece of paper. Please write in the comments how much money per month would be enough for you to lead a comfortable and happy life. I'm interested in reading the comments. I do read them. Furthermore, they greatly assist in promoting the video. Continuing on the same topic, I recommend checking out my videos about the darknet, where a lot of money can be made. The links to these videos will be right on the screen. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. This greatly helps me out. Goodbye for now.